Tough on the brief this morning. It was a mixed bag of events for Nigerians yesterday, a day which began with the announcement of a successful petrol refining by Dangote refinery. But the seeming cherry news was to be short-lived as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, hours later increased the pump price of petrol from 568 naira to between 855 and 898 naira, depending on your location. Reports on the newly increased price comes after NNPCL acknowledged the company's significant debts to petrol suppliers, a financial strain which it said threatens the sustainability of fuel supply. The new pump price is not sitting right with residents as they express their grievances. Well, that's not all on this particular issue of pump price. The Nigeria Labour Congress is urging the federal government to promptly reverse the recent hike in petrol pump price. Calling the move a betrayal of the agreement made regarding the 70,000 naira minimum wage for workers. In a statement titled "We Feel Betrayed," NLC President Joe Ajero expressed that the unions agreed to the 70,000 naira wage based on the understanding that there will be no increase in petrol prices. According to Ajero, President Tinubu presented organized labor with two options: either a 250,000 naira minimum wage, which would result in petrol price increase to between 1,500 and 2,000 naira, or a 70,000 naira minimum wage with no hike in petrol prices. The disappointed labor leader is now demanding an immediate reversal of the latest price, noting that the union's leadership will convene in the coming days to decide on the appropriate course of action. Now, following the successful rollout of premium motor spirits, also known as Petrol, from the Dangote refinery, billionaire businessman and owner of the Lagos-based facility, Aliko Dangote, has said that the product will be available at filling stations as soon as his company finalizes modality with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL. When asked to speak on the pricing of petrol from his refinery, Dangote said it is an arrangement which is designed and approved by the Federal Executive Council led by His Excellency President Bola Tinubu. He had described the day as a celebration day for Nigerians with an assurance that they are now going to have good petrol while the engines of their vehicles will last longer. Well, his friend, billionaire businessman, has praised Aliko Dangote for his significant contribution to Nigeria's economic independence through the successful launch of the refinery. In a lengthy post shared on his page on Tuesday, Mr. Femi Otedola not only highlight Dangote's achievement and their impact on the country's energy sector, but adds that the refinery's success could diminish the relevance of local depots, which have long relied on fuel imports to meet domestic demand. In his word, the depot owners should take heed. It's time to dismantle those depots and sell them as scraps. While the market is still high, the world has changed, and those who do not adapt will be left behind. If you're a depot owner, the members of DAPMAN, this is quite a scary news as far as Femi Otedola is concerned. He's going to form part of our conversation, but let's tell you more of stories that we're tracking across board. The Minister of State for Defense, Mr. Bello Matawale, has relocated to Sokoto in line with the directive of President Bola Tinubu. The minister, who was also accompanied by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says the president is very concerned about the security of the country. This follows the heightened activities of bandits in the northwest region, hence prompting a swift directive by President Tinubu for the Minister of State for Defense and the service chiefs to relocate to Sokoto to address the challenges in the region. And more now, the President, Bola Tinubu, has commiserated with the government and the people of Yobe State over the tragic loss of lives at Mafa in Tamwa local government area of the state. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, the President extended his condolences to the bereaved families and condemned the killings as atrocious and cowardly act of terror by this degraded group of criminals. The President prayed for the repose of the souls of those who are the victims, speedy recovery for the wounded, and also assured the people of Yobe State that the perpetrators of this sinister act will have an inevitable encounter with the will of justice. I'm still talking about the presidency, but this time outside our shores. President Bola Tinubu and the Chinese President Xi Jinping have announced the elevation of Nigeria-China ties to that of a comprehensive strategic partnership. This was the outcome of talks between the two leaders during the president's official visit to China. State House correspondent Larry Lasisi reports that The leaders also agreed to build a high-level Nigeria-China community with a shared future. And back here, let's talk security, more security as well. The Nigerian police force is asking the Mr. Andrew Wynne, a British national who was declared wanted for alleged subversive activities and terrorism financing, to present himself and prove his innocence. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the first public relations officer, Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi, says the Briton was invited several times by the police to answer questions on the allegations leveled against him, but refused to honor the invitation. The police adds that having turned down several invitations, Mr. Wynne fled the country to evade arrest. Okay, but we had told you yesterday that Mr. Wynne has said he's ready to speak to the police. So this is a follow-up to that conversation. Let's also bring you more stories now that the American business magnate Bill Gates has highlighted a crucial need to prioritize nutrition and health financing as part of strategies to foster national growth. Mr. Gates made the advocacy at the 2024 NutriVision, a Pan-African dialogue to discuss innovative solutions to combating nutrition in Africa, held in Abuja. The philanthropist also illuminated Nigeria's potential to significantly increase its agricultural output, which is transformative opportunity for the country. Let's now talk more business on this one. The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Mr. Otedola, is confident that the tax reforms put forward by his committee as proposal before the National Assembly will not only clean up the system, but set the country on the path to economic growth. Speaking at the sidelines of the 2024 conference of the Nigerian Economic Society Summit Group in Abuja, Ms. Otedola urged the National Assembly to expedite action on the proposals aimed at sanitizing the tax collection system, streamlining the tax collection process, and improving the budgeting cycle.
The quick wins are already being implemented. Those include waivers of taxes on food, on diesel, CNG, renewable energy, and we've got some on pharmaceutical, we've got agri. So the quick wins are already being implemented. But the significant ones are the ones that we're about getting into now, where we're trying to pass new laws, amend the constitution, agree on our spending policy, borrowing policy, what do we do with local government, so that people can begin to feel the real impact of the sacrifices they're making, as well as the impact of government in a positive way. It's supposed to be a debate for economists. They have professors, PhD holders, and it's good for us to have this kind of debate. It's healthy for society, such that the final decisions we make are the ones that are actually indeed necessary for our countries. So my personal view is that you need economic recovery, because if you stabilize at the points where you don't want to be, it affects the whole economy. If you focus on recovery, then you recover to a point where you're comfortable, and then you stabilize at that point. It was good that we had two professors, both economists, and they had different views. So hopefully, before they conclude this conference, they'll be able to debate it even further, supported by evidence and data, and be able to advise us.
Let's head out to the international scene yet again. 6 children and a pregnant woman were among 12 people who died after a boat carrying dozens of migrants sank off the French coast in the English Channel. The French Coast Guard reports that 10 of the dead were female and 2 were male, according to local prosecutor's office. More than 50 people were rescued off Cape Greatness near Boulogne-sur-Mer. 2 are said to be in critical condition. Officials say the boat was overloaded and that its bottom ripped open, while fewer than 8 people on board were wearing life jackets. And those are the stories we've been tracking for you, in the last 24 hours, and will form part of our conversation